It's been a while since we talked. Open week came at a good time for us. Beat up a little bit first 3 games of the year, especially coming out of Alabama. Some bumps and bruises that this last week will help with. I think emotionally beat up as well. Season has not gone the way we wanted. Still struggling to figure out the identity of this football team. Clearly showed against Weber the other night. We haven't talked since that game. Did not go the way we wanted. Played about as bad as we could play. Will say that I thought Coach Hill and his group did a great job. I know I talked about that after the game, but they got a good football team. They're going a lot of games. They could be a lot of people, and we didn't help matters by playing as poorly as we did. The last week has been about analyzing every ounce of this program from top down, head coach to managers, all the way in between, trying to figure out how to gain some experience quickly, which is hard to do. You kind of get that one play at a time. We've got a very inexperienced football team. Lost a lot of talent from last year's team. This group is different. We're trying to figure out the learning curve and speed it up. It has proven to be a challenge. Got to figure out what this team can do, what we're good at. May not be the same things as last year's team in any of those phases, what we can hang our hat on. And we've got to find some consistency, and that's been a challenge as well. So had a really good week. I think guys were open to being coached. Guys were very accountable along the way. Great conversations with almost every guy that's getting on the field, individual conversations, challenging those guys, challenging coaches, watching every ounce of tape, trying to find a way for us to improve quickly and start playing the game the way we're capable of playing ball in a competitive way. So appreciate the guys' responses. It's been good. We've had several really good practices, one of our best last night out here. And if we will continue to work that way, this group's going to get better quickly, and we need to, because UNLV is a much better football team than we saw a year ago. A lot of returners. I think the quarterback makes it go. Broomfield is playing very well. 70%, I think, completion rating with only 1 pick says a lot about how he's controlling the ball. But maybe the hidden message is just how well he's moving the chains with his feet. Don't know what his stats were, but he moved the chains several times against North Texas. They've scored 50 points in 2 of their games. Completely different look than what we saw a year ago, and they were a challenge to beat last year at their place. Last second touchdown to survive that one. They're big on both sides. They bring in a transfer running back in Robbins that is massive, 230-pound guy, and he had another huge game. So it doesn't get any easier for us. We're kind of our own worst enemy, and now we face a team, I think, that is just getting better and better and gaining confidence by the snap. So we've got to go out and play our best ball, and we've yet to do that. We've played extremely hard, but have not played well. We got to put those two things together. We got to play as hard as we can, and we've got to execute better. And no better time than this Saturday. So, what questions do you have?
Coach, Trent Wood with Deseret News. You talked about after the loss that you needed to find more leadership on this team. You needed players to step into leadership roles. Did you see anybody step up in the last week that maybe filled those roles, or anybody who showed any inklings of doing so?
Yeah, we've had guys do a phenomenal job. I think accountability is not something that comes super easy. Nobody wants to be the one that says, hey, it was my fault. Nobody wants to take the blame. That's just not society's way. It's always somebody else's fault. I think we had a bunch of guys step in and challenge the team, but also initially just say, hey, man, I got to do better. There was a team meeting called by the players themselves. I know several guys, Hunter Reynolds, Brian Cobb, Logan Bonner, Byron Vaughn, guys spoke up and talked about how they need to be better, how they're going to be better. Logan Bonner was very open with this group. Guys have been battling in my head, just the anxiety of, is my knee ready? I know it's physically ready, but standing in the pocket's been different, being willing to use my legs. I've got to get there. I know I'm holding us back. I mean, he was extremely transparent and very, very critical of himself. And I think he gained a tremendous amount of respect from the guys in the room. All those guys talked about how they can be better, not pointing fingers at the team. What can I do better? I'm going to be better. I'm going to work better. I've already seen that play out on the field in practice. I've been really pleased with where some of those guys have moved. And those are just a handful. Others have done the same. Justin McGriff, Calvin Tyler, a lot of guys stepping in and saying, Coach, I can do better. Team, I can do better, and I will. Now we just gotta find that consistently on a daily basis.
A pretty big spot now in the offense to replace with Kyle's injury. Who are you looking to there? Obviously, Nana and Terrell are sort of the guys who have played there. What have you seen from them in kind of stepping into that bigger role?
Yeah, we've challenged those guys. We've seen glimpses of both those guys doing good things. Watching Terrell, the kickoff return shows you what he can do in space. Got a couple touches that were explosive. We also get Kyrese Rowan back, transfer from Utah that was out the first 2 games. You'll see him start to play a factor there as well. He was just injured or would have already probably been playing in that role a little bit. It's going to be a little bit by committee, I think. There we get also Brock Lane back at the tight end position. He's a little bit more of a guy that you would enjoy playing out in space. He had missed a lot of snaps due to injury. So getting both those guys back comes at a good time. I think we're going to have to be smart about how we utilize our group. It's not the same as last year. We're going to need to shuffle some guys around, similar to what we did with DT last year. We would move him inside, outside. I think we're going to have to do some of the same things with both Griff and Cobb and guys that have had more snaps, that have played more. We're going to have to be more versatile with where they line up, how we utilize those until some of those other guys get experience and get comfortable in a game setting. Practice and game are a good bit different.
Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan. Just going along those lines with wide receivers. Last year, there were a lot of explosive plays on the offense. You kind of relied on that. That's been a little bit lacking this season so far. Is that something that's also been addressed?
Well, we're looking for it, and we're going to have to manufacture it in some areas. Some of the explosives a year ago were just great individual one-on-one plays. We've had some of those same one-on-one situations and just have not created enough. We do need to also think outside the box offensively, and it's something that Coach Tuck and I and the staff have talked about. You know, this group, it may not be as individual based. It may be more schematically. We need to think creatively and think outside the box. Some of the same things that we were really good at a year ago, this group just hasn't quite clicked in those areas. There's plenty of opportunity, not just wide out, not just quarterback. We've got to play better up front as well. But this group, and I said it in the beginning, has to find itself. Where can the big plays come from? How can we schematically create opportunities? And the answers a year ago may not be the same answers this year. And that's part of being a great coach, is figuring out the personnel you have, where you're inexperienced, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are at, and figuring out a way to still move the ball. Same thing, defense, figuring out how to stop folks with different personnel. That has been a challenge to this point. There's no doubt. We're not consistently good at much of anything. We've got to get there, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Jacob Nielsen, KSL.com. How important is this UNLV game to, one, answer some of those questions that you just posed, but then two, kind of be able to change the tone of the season as conference play begins?
I think it's huge. I think we all know we would have expected to be 2-1 going to this game with Alabama being on the schedule. We're 1-2, so we want to keep it in perspective. I think it's so much just how poorly we played, just the fact that we cannot find consistent play. Starting off 1-0 in conference would be huge. Getting a win and getting positive energy moving in our direction would be huge. And it's the next challenge. I mean, you get tested 1 week at a time, and right now we're frustrated. I know the fan base is frustrated, so are we. Trying to find what this team is and being as competitive as last year this team was, that's just, man, that's a huge hurdle. We need it to happen this week. And as I said, we're going to be challenged by really, I think they're a really good football team. He's built this thing over a 4-year period. He's seeing that team get better and better. And I mean, we're going to have to play good ball to have a chance to be competitive.
Brian Freese with KSLSports.com. I'm wondering about the health of Logan Bonner. He hasn't looked comfortable in the pocket at times this year, and you've talked in the past about the need for him to trust that surgically repaired knee and what he can do in the pocket. How's he look? Physically,
I would tell you he's sound. He's been checked, rechecked, and triple checked. Physically, the knee is structurally sound. This is, and if you haven't been through this, I don't know if it's possible to truly understand a practice knee compared to a game knee, a early whistle red jersey knee compared to a live knee in a pocket are two different things. He has been open. He is struggling a little bit anxiety-wise with truly trusting his body. He deserves the opportunity to prove that he can do it this week. He is on a very short leash. He knows that. We can't continue to play second guessing what the knee will and won't do. He's got to move the chains with his feet. He had opportunities to do that last week and the week before and didn't. He knows that. He has been extremely critical of his play at this point. And this is a pivotal week moving forward. He's earned the right to show that he can do it. And he has been very, very open and transparent with the staff and the team. The guys, this is something I want to do. I will do it. You can trust me to do it. And I expect he's going to go out and play like the guy we know he is capable of being. If he doesn't, guys, we're going to move on at quarterback at some point very quickly to Coop, but we just haven't been at that point yet. We had to give him an opportunity to play himself into the guy we all know he is. And so it's a challenge, and he'll be the first to tell you. I expect this week that he plays his best game. He has always done his best when his back's against the wall. He's played through injuries before. Physically, he is in even better shape right now than he was at points last year. I think it's just coming out of the injury and the surgery in his mind to be able to go into the environment of a live situation and do the things he needs to do with confidence. I am hoping this week proves that he can get there.
Coach Al Lewis down at KBNU. Can you go into more specifics about UNLV being better? I mean, obviously they had a great running back last year, and this guy looks like, you said, bigger. Brumfield at quarterback, more of a weapon, I guess you're talking about. And then defensively, what are they doing well on defense?
They're playing man coverage extremely well. That is something we've struggled against also in the first couple games. We've got to uncover ourselves better. We did not do a good job of that, specifically Saturday night. We didn't cover well and we didn't uncover well. So they won both those battles, and it showed on the scoreboard. UNLV will get in your face and play physical man coverage. They are twitchy up front defensively. They are huge on the offensive line. They have a huge running back, but they have settled in on one quarterback. If you think back last year, they were still bouncing back and forth, playing two different guys. I think the rhythm probably was a challenge. They've settled in on Brumfield, and he is playing very well, completing a lot of balls, not turning the ball over, but extending plays and moving the chains with his feet in a way that you just didn't see a year ago. I think they've got 12, 13 returning starters and a ton of lettermen. So I just think the confidence of staying in the system, continuing on it, seeing improvement. I just think we're finding them at their best. It's not the same team we played a year ago. And it kind of revolves around their offensive line and the quarterback right now.
Anderson, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. I wanted to ask you about their pass rush. Adam Plant Jr., he's a 3-year starter now. They have 10 sacks on the season. 10 sacks on the season.
Yeah.
What do you see from him and in their pass rush in general?
Well, they're a 4-down team, and they don't mind bringing pressure. Pretty similar to us. They have twitch on the edge. Their 3 technique is plenty good enough to win one-on-one, so they provide problems. I look at their pass rush very similar to what we see from our guys. Twitch and speed on the edge, able to push inside, will bring the extra guy, but it balances well with the fact of playing really good man coverage in the back end. So it presents problems. They've been able to get to the quarterback very effectively. Plant's been doing this for a while. I think he was their defensive MVP a year ago, all-conference type player. So that doesn't surprise me. We're gonna have to protect the quarterback. We've got to also keep him off balance. We can't stay behind the chains. We've got to be efficient on first down.
Patrick Mayhorn with the Ag Shift again. It seems like you've been having some issues with creating equated numbers in the running game. There's been a lot of 6-on-7, 5-on-6, things like that. How do you go about fixing that when you don't want to, make your quarterback run 15, 20 times a game as a potential decoy?
Well, you gotta hurt them outside. If they're gonna man you up and load the box, you gotta hurt them outside. If they're gonna empty the box, which we saw a good bit the other day, we got to be effective against low numbers, and we've proven to struggle in both areas right now. Consistency is going to be the same answer for everything. We've done things in bits and pieces, but nothing consistently. When the box is empty, we've got to be more explosive. when the box is full, we've got to be able to uncover and be explosive outside. And I'm hoping that we start showing signs of being able to do that. We've not done that yet. We did it at times against UConn, really struggled in any way offensively against Alabama. And the other night, it came in spurts, but nothing. We couldn't finish. So this is a challenge that we face. We're battling it. And again, I think also coaching wise, creativity. How do we create opportunities to get guys open? How do we maybe take it off their plate where they have to just win one-on-one? Schematically, we can create some leverage points, some numbers, and some ways to get people clean. We're going to attack it from every way possible.
Coach Al, again, can you just talk about what you see of the conference? I mean, we've had 2 conference games, but everybody seems to be kind of winning, losing. I mean, what do you see out of this league right now to start this conference?
Well, I think it's really, really competitive across the board. I thought it was a year ago. Some teams that some matchups you would think would go one way have flipped and gone the other. I think it's anybody's ball game on a given Saturday. I love that about our league. We've not had the success out of the league against the Power Fives that we did a year ago. So you'd love to have seen that happen, and that was a huge storyline of last season. Maybe that'll happen later in the year or in bowls, but in terms of playing, across conference lines and playing against each other, I think everybody can win. I think everybody's competitive, and it tells you that. I mean, the encouraging thing, hey, we got a chance. The discouraging things is, man, everybody's good enough to beat you. So you got to be your very best. I thought the same thing a year ago.
Brian Priest, KSLSports.com. I wanted to ask you about UNLV's rushing attack. They come in averaging over 200 yards on the ground, whereas your defense has struggled against the run this year, giving up some big runs and allowing over 200 yards per game. So what are the adjustments needed? What have you worked on in practice this week? I know you've mentioned getting a couple guys back healthy.
Yeah, we played a huge portion of the last week's game without 3 of our interior starters. So played some young guys, playing a lot of freshmen. I think we played almost 14, 15 freshmen right now. So we need to get healthy. But 2 things. We had several busts that we cannot afford to have, where we just mechanically were not where we needed to be. We were out-gapped and out-leveraged. They took advantage of it. We cannot have busts. We cannot have mental mistakes. We've got a handful of guys playing for the first time, and some of the motions and adjustments and shifts, we did not adjust too well. Found ourselves outnumbered and out-leveraged, and it showed. But then even there, technically, just either whether I'm a gap leverage or taking a guy down the middle when I should be in a gap, there's a ton of things that we needed to work on, and we are. I'm hoping it'll start showing it up on game day. The conversations we've had about the offense are not that dissimilar from defense. Finding consistency from guys that have been thrown in the fire really for the first time has been a challenge. And you've seen at times us play the run very, very well, even against Alabama. I mean, really took the running back away most of the day. The quarterback moved the chains. The other day, really didn't defend the run well, except for a handful of plays. So both busts and technical mistakes. And when I say technical mistakes, proper leverage, not ended up down the middle of a guy when you need to be in a gap, tackling in one-on-one situations, leveraging the ball back inside. If you noticed the game the other night, the ball bounced a lot. It can't. It's got to stay back inside where your help's coming from. A lot of things we need to work on. And it's got to improve quickly against this team. They're big. They run the ball. They commit to running the ball. They're good at it. We can't play like we did a week ago. If we do, we won't like the result.
Anything else for Coach?
Y'all got any other questions?
Can I ask you about Holly's status?
Yeah, he is probable. He is probable. Practiced last night in a limited fashion, did really well. I would expect by game day he's ready to go. We missed him desperately last week. We missed Kessie most of the game. That was, a challenge as well. And unfortunately, we will be without Phil Paella for the rest of the season. He also is going to be having ACL surgery in the upcoming weeks on the turnover that we created where he ran the ball. He took a helmet on the outside of his knee and did some damage that's going to need to be repaired. So he and Kyle Van Leeuwen are both done for the year. Any other questions, guys? Hey, real quick before I let you guys go, kind of want to make a statement, not so much a statement, but just kind of make you aware. We would welcome the fan base and the Valley to join with us over the course of the next week and a half, especially this week, as we promote mental health awareness. This is something that our staff, our players have had a lot of conversation about. It's something that there's a passion inside our building. Clearly, my recent background and what's going on in my family is something that they are familiar with, but also a handful of guys on our staff and our players as well. This is something that we've had several guest speakers come in that have addressed this topic. One of which will partner with us this weekend. Another one that will partner with us next weekend. And also Coach Arroyo and UNLV will be partnering with us. We'll be wearing green ribbon stickers on the helmets. Both sidelines will be doing that together. Coaches will be wearing ribbons on their shirts as well. Rachel Barbeau with Changing the Narrative Foundation, who speaks at both places, will come and join us this game this week. And then next week, when we go to BYU, we'll be partnering with the Holinsky Foundation, which is Mark and Kim Holinsky, who travel all over the country sharing their son Tyler's story and really just talking about suicide prevention and mental health. So we will be launching some things out on our social media platform this afternoon. We'll be dropping testimonials all week long. We'll be also releasing resources and really, as we get closer and closer to games, just support for anybody that may be watching, eyes on what we're doing, where we can be supportive for anybody that may be dealing with the effects of mental health in their family, dark thoughts, depression, and suicide. So this is something we have a passion for. We're going to encourage the fan base to join in, repost, retweet, comment, and really just kind of get the dialogue for our fan base in the Valley, and really anybody nationally that's watching. Is something that we want to stand out and just show people our support. So that'll start today. Want to make you guys aware of that. If you want to be a part of that and join in, there'll be plenty of opportunities over the course of the next week and a half. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Jacob Nielsen, KSL.com. What are your thoughts on how the team what areas the team has progressed in during this bye week?
It's a good question. We've done a lot within this past week. Not even on the field, but a lot off the field as well. Kind of just we have had a lot of meetings and a lot of player-led stuff that we've kind of just gone back to the basics, I guess you could say. From the spring, we've kind of had a rebuild mindset. I mean, we know what winning looks like. We did a lot of that last year. We had some really good leaders. So one spot I think this team has gotten a lot better at in the past week is leadership. A lot more guys stepping up into the leadership roles that we need, including myself. And we're going to continue to get better as the year goes on. But I think that's one spot that stood out to me this week, and I think I'm excited for the future because of it.
Mike, Brian Phillips, Big Blue USU Aggie News. When you're talking about guys stepping up leadership-wise, is that more of a lead by example type of thing, or some guys stepping up vocally, maybe a little bit of both? How did that go?
It's a lot of bit of both, actually. A lot of bit of both. I mean, guys are stepping up. Guys are stepping up, vocally that that isn't their, I guess, persona. They're more example leaders, and they're stepping up and vocally and kind of getting out of their comfort zone. And that's what I think I see a lot of guys doing, including myself. I don't like to say too. I'm not used to saying too much, but I'm working on saying a lot more than I have been, and that's for my brothers. I want them to be the best they can be, and I realize that the team needs me more than just coming up, showing up, and doing my job every day. So I need to speak up when something needs to be said, and that's been kind of something I've been trying to work on, and I'm going to continue working on it, and the rest of the team as well.
Michael Al Lewis from KBNU Radio. You played against UNLV last year in that close game. What do you remember of that game? And it sounds like UNLV is a better football team, and they have a bigger running back than they even had last year, who was a good running back. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Coach A, he did a great job of preparing us for that game. He told us all week last year that where they were at on paper in terms of their record was not the type of football team that we were going to see going into Vegas, and he was 100% correct. They were a really good football team, and they had been in 5 one-possession games. We knew what kind of game it was going to be. We knew we were going to have to – it was a tough challenge as well as this year. But, yeah, I mean, their offense, I mean, is dynamic. I mean, they do a lot of good stuff. They run the ball really well. As you guys saw last year, they had some really good backs. They get in a lot of condensed sets and run away from you in man coverage. So it's a tough challenge, and they do a lot of really good things. And like I said, the team that they were on paper last year wasn't the team we ran into. So I feel like we're more than prepared. We'll be more than prepared going into this game this week, knowing what type of team is going to come in here.
Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. They have a new receiver this year, a Michigan State transfer, is averaging over 100 yards receiving a game. What do you see from him that maybe gives them a little bit different of the dynamic than they had a year ago?
He's a lot longer than a lot of the guys we saw last year. A receiver, longer, bigger, physical guy that can run as well. So it's a good challenge for us. But we go against that every day in practice. I mean, with Justin McGriff and Brian Cobbs and Xavier Williams, all those guys, I mean, those guys give us a lot of different stuff. I mean, we see guys who are a lot quicker, guys that are a lot bigger and a lot stronger. So we see a lot. I mean, I always say this, I see the best receivers every day in practice than I play all year. So it's a good challenge. I mean, it's different from what we saw last year. There were a lot of shorter, quicker guys, utility guys that motioned and did a lot of stuff in the backfield and stuff like that. So we'll see some true receivers that'll line up every play and give us a good challenge.
And that Blake Anderson or Coach Anderson talked a lot about is just leadership and different guys who are stepping up. Are there any individuals that you've seen on your side of the ball that throughout this bye week have really stepped up and been more vocal?
Yeah, guys like Hunter Reynolds, guys like AJ Vongpachan, guys like Byron Vaughns have been doing a lot. And those have been leaders. Those are guys that have been leaders, but they're trying to do even more than they've been doing, and also encouraging others like myself, other vets like myself, to step into leadership roles as well in our position groups and on the team as a defense as well. But they've been leaders, but they're continuing to grow as leaders, and you can see it. I mean, it's very evident. But they're also doing a great job encouraging guys like me to be a better leader.
Ask you also, Mike. Obviously, some underwhelming performances and disappointment, but there have also been some positives from the defensive end, especially in forcing turnovers and stuff. What are things that you guys have done well these first 3 games of the season that you're hoping to improve upon coming into conference play?
We've done a lot of things well, I think, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to see. It's hard to see from the outside looking in, but when we cut the tape on after the games, you could see we do a lot of things well. Our defensive line is playing great, playing amazing. I mean, as a DB, I mean that helps us out so much, and with the man that we play, the amount of man that we play, the defensive line has just done a great job helping us out and getting pressure on the quarterback. Our linebackers are doing a really good job. I mean, like the tackling has been really well. We've been forcing a lot of turnovers. So we've done a lot of really good things, but we're just trying to improve. We're just trying to go 1-0 every day and every rep. That's what we talk about. I mean, in practice, even against the scout team. I mean, go 1-0 every rep. Do our job to the best of our abilities. I mean, we just try to get better every week. But a lot of the things that we've done well, I mean, we just try to build on.
Jacob Nielsen, KSL.com. I'm curious, you and your perspective. You're a guy that you've been in the program a while and you experienced so many highs and lows within the program. So what's kind of been your mentality, obviously starting the season with a little bit of a rough patch, and how have you been able to kind of help the team see like, hey, maybe this guy isn't necessarily falling. We just got to maybe just kind of switch things up a little bit and get ourselves together.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to keep the main thing the main thing. You can't let these games too early in the season like discourage us. Like that's what I've been trying to tell the guys. Like we can't let all this stuff discourage us. You just got to keep working every single week because like I believe in this team. I believe in all these guys. I know what we have, who we have, and I know that we can be really successful. We just got to keep doing what we've been doing, and then eventually I feel like we'll figure it out because I do feel like we have something special here, but we just don't maybe quite know that yet. And so it's just a matter of getting everybody on board at the same time, and I'm just waiting for that. So
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Al.
Okay, thanks, Jason. I was just going to say, Jacob, Al Lewis from KBNU, just has been noticeable that the offense can't get that flow, and it comes from maybe first down, or it comes from a better. What have you guys identified or tried to come up with as far as the feelings of what's going on there offensively?
I would say something that we've kind of, and it was kind of towards the end of last season, we kind of struggled with, like, we've always been emphasizing tempo, like, and our pace offense and everything. That's what has always been our bread and butter and will be. And we've kind of strayed away from that these past couple of games. And that's something we've been emphasizing this past week of practice too, is just getting that pace back, like pushing the envelope, getting that first down, getting the defense on their heels and everything. And that's something that we didn't really do these past couple of weeks that we've been emphasizing a lot. And it's just like, because that's really makes our offense successful is those quick runs, catching the defense off guard, busting 15-yard runs and everything. And that's just something that we haven't, in my opinion, haven't been doing these past couple of weeks. And we've been doing a lot better in practices and stuff, emphasizing that so we can get back to that and start getting in that flow again.
Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. I just wanted to ask you about Elijah Shelton. He's been starting for them. You played with him before, obviously. Have you guys been in contact with him, and how much are you looking forward to seeing him and playing against him?
Oh yeah. We used to go against each other in one-on-ones back in the day, freshman, sophomore year, I think. But yeah, I haven't really kept in contact with him that much. But I know he's a really great player. He's a really great defensive end, and I loved going against him in practice back in the day because it made me a lot better football player too. And so I've been looking forward to this matchup a lot because I know he's a great player, and it's just going to be a challenge, which I'm totally up for because I know how great of a player he is. So.
Patrick Mayhorn with the Ag Ship. Coach Anderson mentioned at the end of his talk sort of mental health initiatives that the team has taken and having some guest speakers come in. What impact has that had on the team, and what does that sort of just look like for you guys?
Well, one of the speakers that I really connected with a lot, and she's come in a couple of times, was Rachel Barabeau. Sorry if I'm butchering that, but she has done a really great job with coming and talking to the guys, because that's something that's not really talked about a whole lot in necessarily the football world, because we're always just talking about football and all that stuff. And there's a lot of these guys that do struggle with mental health and everything. And so it's nice to have someone come in and actually talk to you and say, oh, you're not alone in this, or yeah, there's people who are wanting to talk with you about it and like wanting to listen. And so she was just a really great resource that Coach Anderson brought in. And I'm really grateful we're having this week that's dedicated to that cause, because that's something that's really important, especially with college athletes.
Al Lewis again from KBNU in town. Can you just give your thoughts on looking at this league from the outside in? You're playing your first conference game. It just seems like nobody's really gelling big time so far in this league. What are your feelings going into playing UNLV first conference?
Yeah, I mean, it's really anybody's conference this year. Like the powerhouses you see every year, like Boise and San Diego State and Fresno, aren't really looking like what people were expecting it to be. And so I think that gives a lot of confidence to us as a team too, because we had high expectations coming into this season, and we still do. And so and we're just starting conference play, and so that shows us that, okay, take a deep breath, everything's going to be all right. And it is going to be all right, because I still have a lot of confidence in this team. I know our coaches still have a lot of confidence in this team, and I know all the fans out there still do. And so it just brings everything back, brings everything into perspective. Say, okay, we're just starting conference play right now. This is where we make our money. This is where we really get that opportunity at another Mountain West Conference championship. And yeah, it's really all open out there. It's been awesome watching all the Mountain West games this year. And so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Something that Coach Anderson spoke a lot about was Logan Bonner and kind of his progression and kind of how he's been battling sort of his mind games and stuff coming off his injury. What have you seen from Logan this past week and a half in terms of his leadership and kind of just his mentality?
He's already one of the biggest leaders on our team. But this last week, I think he really stepped up and took some ownership and really said, hey guys, I've kind of been struggling these past couple of weeks, and I'm claiming that, but I'm going to be better going forward. And like, as an offensive line, we can be better too. Like, we can give him more time. We can like give him some of that confidence too, because he has faith in us. We have faith in him. And it's just a matter of getting him back to his old self, because we know who he is. We've all seen it. And so we got to control what we can control. And that's giving him time back there and opening up those running lanes so that, yeah, the defense honors the run more, so that they can, the passing lanes will be a lot more open. So I mean, I have a lot of confidence in Logan, and I always will.